what I want to demonstrate is how properly to close the soundproof partition and how to most easily do it. This is where it will connect and close. There are chairs that back up to it.
It hangs from this beam and goes across.
A giant track.
It's stored in there.
There's supposed to be a row of chairs right in front of it. There is normally a second row backed up to it, very close, and they have to be moved into the cafe before the wall can be closed.
Okay.
Once those chairs have been moved back sufficiently, the first panel can be pulled out and must be straightened before it will pass those chairs, and then gently moved. If I do it that way, I don't have to move the back row of chairs at all.
Right.
And moved all the way across very gently. We don't want these things crashing into their receptacles because the partition is $30,000 and we don't want to replace it. This first track, and each door is a little bit idiosyncratic. This first track only meshes if the door is really quite wide open. I put a knee in the middle and pull on the sides.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm lucky, almost.
And what are you watching when you're trying to line it up?
It's being difficult today. I'm watching the very top of the track.
Yeah.
Where it meshes. And trying to get this side to come out enough. There. That it will actually mesh. That worked.
Okay. So it's closed all the way down to the bottom, and then
there is only one key, and I have it here.
Okay. Okay. Show it to me in front of the cork. Oh.
This single key is actually simply a 3/4 inch, 3/8 inch square. And no different than, for example, a 3/8 inch socket driver.
Okay.
So, with that confidence, we still haven't got a second one, and we haven't lost this.
Okay.
But it does have to be long. I suggest that once the door is properly meshed, you take the key, put it in approximately horizontal. There is a hole and the socket receptacle in this spot on each door. Put pressure on the meshed door and then pop this down. It can be very difficult for wrists if you try and pop it up.
Can you demonstrate? So the whole point of that key is to drop this foot that anchors us to the floor. And I just wanted to explain. So then you use that same key to raise the, will you call it a foot that touches the floor? And then you're going to put it down again, twisting counterclockwise to drop that foot.
Before passing the chairs, because it saves having to move the whole row of chairs.
Yeah.
The second panel meshes a little differently. And the only way I've been able to get this to mesh is not to straighten it so much. That meshed nicely. Key in horizontally.
Push together.
Pressure.
Drop that foot.
The rubber seals at the edge of the wall, which are a part of the soundproofing, have slipped down and are running along the floor and they need to be slid up. Often these rubber seals need to be adjusted.
And you just slide it up with your hand?
Yeah, but it's off its track, so we need to get it back on that track.
Okay, so third panel.
Okay, third panel does not mesh. Again, does not mesh like the other two. This one, now you'll recall I had to bend this a little bit to get that in. Well, I have to bend it a little more now to get this third panel in. And if I do that and get this one really straight, then it'll mesh.
Okay. And then drop that foot down.
The fourth panel presents a little bit different challenge, which I believe has come about because people have often, without retracting the feet, dragged the panel around.
Yeah.
And that and other heavy handling. This one will connect okay without a lot of grief, but it's off at the top. One side of its adjustment up there, I think from rough handling, has slipped, and at the bottom, when it's fully meshed, it is not tight together, and from the top it is. So that's the best you can do with this panel right now.
And the problem you're
It's half an inch off at the bottom and tight at the top.
Let's see.
You always want to retract the foot while the panel is flat. The two portions aligned with each other. If you don't, this connection at the center becomes disconnected.
So it gets out of phase?
And then the one side will not operate the other.
Yeah.
And you can end up with 1 foot down and 1 foot up. And it's worth mentioning that a single foot up is enough to let most of the sound from one side into the other. If this is not properly closed, it's almost as if there's no partition. This one normally closes very easily. You have to get the top right and then swing the bottom until it matches.
Seats,
Now I disappear into the partition bay, tighten it down, and for the last panel, come around to the other side.
Okay. So going inside the partition bay, there's one panel left. Woo.
You straighten the last partition.
And you have to be on this side of it to do the final move, don't you?
You do. And when it's quite straight, mesh it. Fortunately, this one meshes easily. And then there is, instead of on the end, the receptacle to
The key.
extend the end of the partition. On this one, the extending down and also out this way to meet the wall is done with the key this way. And when it's tight, it's sealed. If that's not tightened, again, it's just like the partition wasn't here sound-wise, sound just comes through.